Hi everyone, Alison from Crochet Connections here, and today we're going to learn the half treble crochet. And this is the half treble crochet. So this is the stitch we're going to learn today. And once I find my swatch, I'll be able to show you on my swatch. Here's my scraps. Same colour and everything. A step down from our treble, but a step up from our double. Our double is worth 1 chain in height, whereas our half treble is worth 2 chains in height. So when you work along your chain and you do your last stitch, and you're about to turn your chain, turn your work, you will actually chain up 2 before you work your next row. So yes, it's a very good stitch to have in your library of stitches because it works up really quickly and it's very easy to do. Once again, I have my yarn, I have a crochet hook that matches my yarn, and I have some scissors. Okay, so I'm doing my Slipknot, my yarn, holding my yarn with my fingers, going over, under, over, bringing it back down between my fingers, back loop, taking it up over the front loop but leaving it on my finger, taking the new back loop up, over and off, and pulling my finger up tight like that. I'm sliding it back on my hook. So now we have our Slipknot. And we'll just do a refresher on our chains. Remember how some people like to hold their yarn, they like to wrap it around their fingers, and remember how I have my scissor fingers and my gun fingers, how they go between your scissor fingers and over your gun fingers to hold. Otherwise I just go through my scissor fingers and over my gun fingers. So get that better, and remember we're holding where our knot is. Hook down, yarning over and pulling through. So I'll repeat that. Hook is still facing down, we've got our tension on our hook, we're going behind our yarn and over the top of it, horizontal and pulling through, and don't forget that little twist on the end so our hook doesn't lose the yarn. So yarning over, pulling through with the twist, repositioning, yarning over, pulling through with the twist, and we'll just do some more chains. Now we have a good amount of chains here, and remember our half treble crochet is equal to 2 chains in height. That means we don't count the loop that is on our hook, we have to count back from the chain on our hook. So 1, 2, that equals our height. That means we work into the 3rd chain from our hook. Seeing as we don't have a pattern, it doesn't matter where we start, but if you had a pattern that said you had to work 10 stitches, that means you would chain your 10, then you would add on an extra 2 chain for your half treble, so you would chain 12. Okay, so to do your treble, your half treble, you yarn over, and you work into your chain like any normal stitch. You yarn over again, pull up a loop, and now we're just going to yarn over again and do like we do with the normal double crochet, hold and pull through all 3 loops on our hook. So yarn over, go in, yarn over, pull up a loop. See how we've got 3? We yarn over, we're holding onto the chain at the bottom, got a little bit of tension, and pulling through. So we've got 2 half treble crochets, and we'll just go through some more. And it's really good stitch because it works a little. It's almost as quick as working a regular double crochet, but it gives you a lot more height. I find myself working with this stitch a lot because, like with beanies especially, it's very, very handy. Okay, so yarn over, go into your stitch, yarn over, pull up your loop, yarn over, reposition, pull through all 3 loops. That's your half treble. I'm just going to finish this row, then I will turn my row and I will do some increases and decreases. So yarn over, go into your stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, tension, pull through all 3 loops, yarn over, into the stitch, yarn over and pull up your loop, yarn over, pull through all 3. And we just keep going to the end. So this is our last stitch now, and like I said, once we've got to our last stitch, we have to remember that our half treble is equal to 2 chain in height. So when we want to turn, we have to chain up 2. So now we just turn our work. And the same thing applies, this first gap here that you would think to work in, actually this chain 2 is that stitch there. And the same thing applies for when we worked into our double crochets, except for the little, I don't know what you would call them, I can't remember what I called them last times. The bumpy things in between are a little bit different this time. I'll just zoom in a bit. They're a lot easier to see, I think. See how these gaps are just so much easier to see. Once again, you'll just work straight through there and pick up 2 loops. So I'll just put my hook back on. Okay, so I'm yarning over. I go in my stitch and see how I've got my 2 loops. I yarn over, pull up a loop, I yarn over, tension, and I pull through all 3. Yarn over, under 2 loops, see? Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3. Yarn over, into loop, yarn over, pull up a loop. I'm just going to even my tension out a bit. Okay. Yarn over, pull through all 3. Yarn over, go into your stitch, yarn over, pull up your loop. Yarn over, pull through all 3. Okay, so remember that an increase is basically just 2 or more stitches into one space. So I'll do an increase, even though you know how to do a stitch, I'll just do it in the same space here. So we've got 1 half treble in there, so we're just going to do another one to repeat that. So that's our increase. Very easy to do, and I'll do another increase. See, I have 2 increases, 1, 2. I've got 2 stitches there, but I'm going to do a 3rd stitch in there as well. I have a beautiful pattern for a baby cardigan that works this way. You work up, then you work 3 stitches as the increase, and you work down. It's beautiful. Okay, oops, wrong stitch. Okay, so yarning over, going into my stitch, pulling up a loop, yarning over, pulling through. Okay, yarning over into the next stitch, yarning over, pulling through. Okay, now I'm going to do a decrease. Okay, so we start like we normally would. And this one might be a little bit tricky to learn, and you definitely need to use your middle finger to hold your loops on your hook. Just so, see how I'm not pressing, I've just so to help keep my yarn under control. You'll go into your stitch, you'll yarn over and pick up a loop, so you'll have 3. Now before we can go on, we need to go as if we're going to complete another stitch. So we'll yarn over and we'll go into this next stitch here. So that is why I have my finger on my loops up here, to keep my yarn under control. I'll pull up another loop. See, that's where I yarned over, that's where I pulled up a loop. That's where I yarned over, that's where I pulled up my last loop. Now I'm going to yarn over, I'm going to put my fingers back down here on these 2 stitches. I'm going to put my tension on my hook up here. I'm going to slowly pull this last yarn over I did through all 5 hooks on my, all 5 loops on my hook. Sorry about that. I'm just going to do it slowly, and if you can't get it through all at once, just go through a couple at a time. And that is a decrease. Okay, so I'll do that one more time. I'm yarning over, going into my next stitch. I'm yarning over and pulling up a loop. Okay, so I'm almost finished. But wait, I want to decrease. So I yarn over, hold on to that, go into my next stitch, yarn over, and pull up a loop. I'm holding on to all of that now. I'm just putting a little bit of tension down here and fixing up my my tension a little bit. Okay, so I've got 5 loops there. Now I'm going to yarn over. I'm going to hold on to my stitches on these 2 stitches down here and slowly pull through all the loops on my hook. And if you have to, like I said, go through 2 at a time, go through 2 at a time until you're finished. There we go. Done 2 decreases side by side. Now I'm just going to finish off with my last stitch. We should have a little bit of practice working with our last stitch now. Remember, we're turning, so we chain 2. You can see how we've got a nice little bend to our work there. Okay. So you can see here, these are where our decreases are, and there's a stitch here and a stitch here. That stitch there doesn't count because that chain is that stitch. So I'm just going to work these stitches as normal. So once again, as you can see, I've yarned over, I'm going into my stitch, yarning over and pulling up, yarned over, and I'm just pulling through. I'm just going to repeat that. Going all the way across. I'm going to do It's fun what you can do with crochet and the shapes you can make. Just, you know, practicing and all the different little things you can figure out. Okay, and I'm coming up to my last stitch, which is here. And there we go. Pretty little shape. I have decreases here, increases here, and an increase, a decrease, an increase. If I turn that to the back, you can see just as well. Decrease, increases on the side, decreases down here, increases up here. Okay, well, I hope that was an informative video. I just like, when I want to learn a new stitch, I'll go and I'll watch lots and lots and lots of videos so I can learn as much as I possibly can about it. Like, I'll go and I'll learn how to increase and decrease and all sorts of things about it, and then I'll go back to the beginning and try and figure out how to do it. So some people are like me, some people aren't, so I just thought I would get it all done in one video. And then I know it's all there and I can just go back to it. Okay, well, good luck with your half treble crochet. It's a really great stitch. As you can see how quickly this worked up. This is 3 rows. As you can see, this is also 3 rows of blue, but because we've worked with curves, it changes the dimensions a bit. And I think I worked my tension a little bit looser in this one as well. But you can see it's exactly the same height. Really is a beautiful stitch, and it gives you nice height, and it's got a little bit of give and stretch in it without being too holey like the treble is. And it's not too thick like the double is. So yes, well, I hope you enjoy the half treble crochet. Okay, good luck. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm always coming up with new things, and hopefully I'll be able to get them up to you quicker. Bye.